Imperialism is more than just a land grab. Whether it's the US, Russia, China, or anyone else, authority manufactures consent through ideological loyalty and tightly controlled media ecosystems. Narrative control is shaping what people believe is normal or real. This can be controlled. It can be shaped. It's not natural. Your brain is full of garbage people said to you over the years. And there's like a lot of psychological manipulation going on. It's half-truths, omissions, word lies per se, but sometimes, and more lately increasingly. But it's psychological manipulation, or psyops, which is a known war strategy for like centuries, and PR, perception management through repetition. People keep reminding me, as an Irish lady, of my struggle, my family struggle. And so if you try to tell me that I'm British, I get mad. We all have this, one way or another. My mother was told by her mother, and on. In the West, 6 corporations, both owned by 2 investment firms, own 90% of the media. In Russia, you only have state-run news, RT or Sputnik. China has the Great Firewall, and WeChat is monitored. They have artificial intelligence censoring things in real time. In Russia, Soviet nostalgia and Orthodox nationalism blend into an ideology, whereas the Americans have been conditioned to believe it's the free world versus the dictator, or that they're protecting democracy, a system of government they themselves don't even live under. You're a republic. But the support the troop, Jason Bourne, Call of Duty culture is very popular. Operation Mockingbird gave literal evidence of CIA infiltration in US media, and that's still ongoing. China tells their citizens the West is collapsing. Russia historically revises the Soviet Union a lot to erase its own crimes. They just blame NATO for everything, and if you speak out against them, you're a Western plant. There's been numbers of incidents where genuine populist protest has broken out in different countries, and then Western intelligence and NGOs get involved and use the protests as geopolitical weapons. Then protests, they get heavily covered in Western news as symbols of budding democracies that we must go in and protect. Georgia, Ukraine, Arab Spring, just to name a few. Russia and China have got worse in reaction to fear of US-backed uprisings in their own country. They now stifle their own people even more aggressively, and they frame any protest of the Russian government as a CIA operation. Belarus 2020, US-backed. Hong Kong 2020, anti-China protest broke out, US-backed. Kazakhstan 2022, US-backed protesting. Iran is on high alert for this, and beyond blaming Putin, Russian successor potentials are concerned about Western-backed protesting after he leaves, because the Russians like Putin. They may not like imperial government from another fella. All major powers control their populations through manufactured consent. They all tell different lies, but the goal is the same. Obedience, distraction, suppressing of dissent. The internet is a battleground because no government truly can control the flow of free information. To break free, you need to learn how to identify propaganda. Who benefits? Fear and tribalism are the biggest weapons of propaganda. If it makes you feel angry or scared, it's manipulation. I hate to tell you, but the real world moves quite slowly. Things like, we must act now or millions would die. That's not true. They don't hate your freedom. Why are you only getting one side always? They keep dissenting voices silenced. Why? What are you afraid of? The Ukraine narrative is that there's no room for diplomatic solutions, but that's not true. Ask Turkey. Lots of people have put plenty of solutions on the table there. And it's not Putin who's saying no. Propaganda loves repetition, so here's some phrases that you'll never be able to hear the same way again. Safe and effective in terms of pharmaceutical drugs. No drug is 100% safe and effective. Doctors will tell you it's risk versus benefit, always. There's side effects, but this will shut down any other medical debate. Proven safe and effective. Authoritarian threat. When that's being used to justify war, consider you might be the oppressor. Anything that's like definitive, like the science is settled, or history like history is written by the victors. Science is never settled. We learn things every day. You have to understand that the world is complex and continually changing, so that you can hold the nuance in your head to understand that when somebody talks in absolutes to you, they're lying. And we don't all agree on everything, so if someone's presenting you a universal agreement, that's controlled narrative. 99% of scientists agree. 4 out of 5 tooth doctors say. No, they don't. Why does the West care so much about Ukraine but continually ignores the situation in Yemen? If you want to protect democracy, why is one of your key allies a monarchy? And the Chinese and the Russian, although I appreciate there's neither Chinese nor Russian people able to watch this video. Yes, the US is a horrific bad guy, but when your government uses that to justify their own force, that is a lie. In the beginning, Palestinian protesters were labelled as peaceful, but then it became riots. They were causing riots. In the beginning, Edward Snowden was a whistleblower, but over time he was rebranded as a traitor. The Americans don't even have democracy. They use democracy as a synonym for whatever we feel like doing. I think a lot of us have parents or grandparents that sit at home and watch things like Sky News all day. If we could try and get them to not be doing that, that might help us in the next election cycles. You do not need to consume the news at all. You either want to understand history and politics, or you just don't. You don't have to. Getting snippets of information like that on the news is manipulating you. If you don't have time to read the book, just say, I didn't read the book. Don't watch somebody paraphrase the book through a lens of their own manipulation and then come argue with someone who wrote the book about what you think you know. Where are you getting your information, brother? It's all right to just say, I don't know. I don't want to participate in the democracy. I want to watch this stupid telly. Fine. But understand, it's propaganda. It's giving you brain worms sitting in that chair.